full moon in the sign of Taurus, which is the best zodiac sign of all of them, at 13 degrees, November 5th, 2025. Let's get into it. Let's break it down. Let's have a chat about it, shall we? A full moon is typically going to be a closing out of a cycle. It's going to be like the grand finale of a specific energy in a lot of ways. It's when two planets, two very important planets or luminaries, or a moon and a star, in this case, our moon and our sun, are opposing each other. So they're 180 degrees away from each other in opposite signs, sister signs. And so there's definitely going to be a tug, a push and a pull, a trying to find a balance between two very different but similar energies. So this go round, we're dealing with the axis of Taurus and Scorpio. And this axis has a lot to do with values, money, resources. So much so. Taurus has a lot to do with my values, my worth, my resources, my money, the things that I have because I earned them. Scorpio is a little bit more to do with other people's money, the esteem of others, combining and joining finances. It's debt versus ownership. You know, it's an axis that is very relevant to the mundane astrology that we are experiencing right now. And as I am recording this Monday night, they're still trying to figure out how to fund SNAP benefits, and we're dealing with the government shutdown. So it's actually a very important moon for this period of time that we are living in real time. It's a moon for the history books for sure. So here's the moon. What I really want to focus on is two things primarily. I want to look at how the sun and the moon aren't really aspecting anything else, because everything else is either at the end or the beginning of their particular sign. These are too close to aspect. So this moon, for all intents and purposes, is really only aspecting the sun. The sun is only aspecting the moon. The only thing that this does, in fact, communicate with or chat with are the nodes. So the moon is trine the south node, the sun is trine the north node. So what this tells me is that this particular moon is going to lead us into a new path. It's going to lead us into a new way of thinking in regards to the subject matter of this particular moon. Now, the other thing that's very important to look at is the dispositor of the moon. So the moon in Taurus is ruled by this Venus in Libra. And what Libra is doing is it's squaring Jupiter, and then it's also forming an inconjunct to Neptune and Saturn. So let's talk about that. So the story of Venus's aspects to these particular planets actually tells us a whole lot about what's going on in our personal lives and what's going on a mundane level, meaning the collective astrology for everybody. When you have Venus, the sign of your values, your pleasure, the things you enjoy doing, the things that you spend your money on, the way that you make your money, your relationship to money, in square to Jupiter, there is a too muchness aspect or element to that. It's almost like overspending or overvaluing certain things. So that's the first thing that I really notice about this particular moon and what it's telling us about the world at large. So let's talk about this inconjunct between Venus, the planet of how we're spending our money, our values, our aesthetic, those things we find pleasurable, and it's inconjunct to Neptune, which is all about the illusion, our ideals, our spirituality, the veil, where things are being hidden from us, where we tend to get confused or kid ourselves. When two planets are in conjunct, they're just not in alignment with each other. They don't have anything in common. So you have a situation where the way that we're spending our money, or those things that we have traditionally found value, don't really actually have value when it comes to like what really matters. We're starting to see what really matters. We're starting to see how perhaps maybe we've been fooled into playing this game all along, this game of capitalism and buying and just buying more and buying and buying and buying and buying. And then what are we doing? Why are we going into debt to seem a certain kind of way? Why are we going into debt to celebrate things like Christmas or Thanksgiving? Why are we overextending ourselves and working so much that maybe we don't even see our families in order to put a whole bunch of trash under a Christmas tree? Why are we doing that? So when you have this inconjunct, you're starting to see, and in this particular inconjunct, because Neptune is actually retrograde. When Neptune is retrograde, it's actually almost working to lift that veil. So the other cool thing is Venus is strong here. Venus is strong in Libra. So she is able to see the other perspective, the other person's side of things. She's able to put other people's needs in front of her own. Venus in Libra is very relationship oriented. So this selfishness that perhaps sometimes Venus can get trapped into isn't going to be a factor in this situation. We're going to start seeing where we need to readjust our values to match our actual our soul, our spirit. So let's talk about the next inconjunct. So the other inconjunct is that between Venus, again, and Saturn. So when Venus and Saturn are out of alignment with one another, again, we're talking about how your values and your money habits are not necessarily in alignment with your responsibilities and your structures and your responsibilities. But again, Venus holds the upper hand here because she's at home. She has all the tools she needs to operate and bring some peace into this misalignment. Saturn in Pisces is dissolving its boundaries. It's allowing a blurred line between the responsibilities. It's not super comfortable in Pisces, but Saturn does love to be in Libra. It's exalted in Libra. So this particular Saturn is going to listen to Libra because she is exactly where he wants to be. And so what you see with this particular situation, and again, Saturn is also in retrograde. So in this particular story or this tale, what this is reading to me is this, love knows no boundaries. It's the combining of resources. It's the spreading around of the money. It's the telling the story of there is no lack. Lack is something that is made up for the limited few at the top. But there's actually enough to go around for everybody. And that's what we're seeing happening right now in real time. Everyone is pulling their resources together to try to help people put food on the table when the government is trying to create this lack mentality that doesn't actually exist. I told you at the beginning of this video, full moons are culmination. And 2 days after this moon, Uranus, the planet of chaos, rebellion, and revolution, will slide back into Taurus for the last time in our lifetimes. This is going to give us an opportunity to shake things up around our ideas around what has value, what resources are, who deserves to hold the resources, should they be spread around? These are all going to be questions that we are going to be thinking about because Uranus will be in retrograde, and we're going to have so many wild chances to set things straight. So by the time the Taurus new moon happens next May, we'll be living in a different world.